Good morning. I didn't have a real plan as I started these videos, but I started realizing all the different art there is about Jesus, about me, about our time. So I'm continuing with the theme of looking at artistic renderings of events. This being a rendering of the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. And, like all art, like all perspective, it's in the eye of the beholder. So Da Vinci was rendering that image based on what he knew in his own life. At the time, we rarely sat at tables. If anything, most of us were cross-legged on the floor or the ground, or sometimes eating on couches, reclined. Anyway, so that's one thing that is interesting. But I'm bringing this image up for a couple of reasons. One, because there's a theory that is purported in Holy Grail, Holy Blood, Holy Grail, I think is the name of it, and then repeated in the certainly creative and entertaining book that came out a number of years ago by Dan Brown, The Da Vinci Code, that says that I'm this person and that I am Jesus' wife or lover, which, I guess is certainly much more complimentary than other things that have been said about me. But I find it interesting and objectionable that I can't live to be a student and a disciple and a loyal one who did my best, who stayed by Jesus' side to the end, without my sex, my gender, having to be part of it. I mean, even Jesus' mother doesn't escape that. She has to be a virgin, so I guess I have to be the opposite. It doesn't happen to the guys, and I guess that's part of why I decided I need to do this, so that there is a different perspective. And I just want to say clearly, for all that have accepted the theory purported in Dan Brown's book, among others, Da Vinci wasn't there. He wasn't at the Last Supper. And you know who else wasn't there? No Gentiles. There were a lot of people there. But I can assure you, there were plenty of us who were followers and students of Jesus. Not just cooking and sewing. We did do that. I'm a weaver, after all. But Jesus, at least, and some of the guys had a real problem with it, but Jesus almost saw, I guess I think what each person wants in life and from others is to be seen, to be really seen for who we are, regardless of gender. And that's who Jesus was. As far as I know, I mean, he certainly knew what gender I was, but as far as I know, as far as I was treated, it wasn't gender-based. So part of why I say that is because that image and the words that made it into the gospel and through editing processes have given a lot of reasons or excuses for excluding women from Jesus' inner circle, and therefore, I guess, from all kinds of roles today. And there's more to unpack about that, but it's enough to say now. But I point out that all of these men in this image, they are Hebrew. And let me tell you, the difference in Hebrew and Jewish is Jews are from Judea, and they are Hebrew. But not all Hebrews are Jews. So Hebrews, it's the faith, it is the lineage, but there were 12 tribes, and most of the others' lands had either been given away or taken or whatever. So absolutely, there's more people of Judea lineage that survive today knowing that lineage. But it is not quite synonymous with Hebrew. There are people that can be Hebrew without being Jews. And I can assure you that everybody in that image is Hebrew. And most are Jews. And I can assure you that there were no Gentiles or Asians or people of African lineage, whatever. So anybody that wants to point to that image or the scripture that creates it and use it as a reason to exclude women from inner circles needs to take a look in the mirror. Because only the ones that are Hebrew were there. So to exclude women because of gender and not exclude others because of race or ethnicity is not fair, and neither is what Jesus would do. So I'm going to close this by talking about a metaphor that I heard that I like a lot. And that is, what is the difference in heaven and hell? And it's kind of a riddle. And what you see in the riddle is images of heaven, where there's this huge table just laden with food, and these huge, long, like 6-foot utensils, forks or chopsticks or something. And it's the table surrounded by people of all genders and races. And they're happy and they're well fed and they're talking and interacting with one another. And it is just a very joyous scene. And then you see hell, and it's the same scene, the same table, the same utensils, the same food, the same variety of diners, because nobody argues that anybody can get into hell. No, that doesn't seem to be an issue with race or ethnicity or gender, does it? So there's all these different people in hell, and they're emaciated and miserable and not interacting with each other and kind of like just grunting at each other at most, if at all. And, why do you think that would be? What is the difference? They have the same magnificent food, which smells wonderful, looks wonderful, completely edible, mouth-wateringly so. And they look hungry, but they look miserable and starving. And the difference is that they can't feed themselves with those unwieldy, long, extra long, like 6-foot long utensils. But in heaven, they use those utensils to feed each other. There's a place at the table for all of us, as long as we make a place for all of us. Until we do, well, we're not following Jesus' teaching. And earth cannot become as it is in heaven. So let's all give that some thought. I'm far from perfect in doing it, but we all need to try. Anyway, out for now. Peace. Love yourself. Love each other.